Hello and welcome to Nintendo Voice, your voice for everything Nintendo. This is episode 149, being recorded on the 9th of August 2018. My name is Lewis Pugh, and joining me to talk all things Nintendo, we have Harrison Milfeld.
Happy to be here, as always, I guess.
And of course, we have the one, the only. Unfortunately, we don't have a Colin Crompton.
We don't. He is sleeping right now, ready to get ready for a long day of work for him. So, like I said, Colin, get some rest and be ready to edit this tomorrow. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, get ready for the big episode next week. But before all that fun stuff, we've got our normal structured episode for you, at least mostly so. We've got what we've been playing, and we've got the Nintendo news, which, of course, we've had the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Direct just yesterday from recording.
Yep, lots of the good stuff on that I made. Also, well, we'll get to it when we discuss the Smash Direct, whatever. But obviously, this is going to be covering quite a bit. That segment's going to be covering a lot of the show today, in a sense. But other than that, I was pleasantly pleased. We'll get to Colin's thoughts on what he thinks of the Direct, though. Whatever, we'll put that in. But let's just say it's probably what you expect.
Colin living up to his namesake, even if he's not on the show. But yeah, we do have an excerpt from Colin. We will read out at the appropriate moments within the podcast. First, let's jump straight into some what we've been playing. Now, Harrison, I hear, unfortunately, no new games from your side.
None really of substantial things to talk about right there. I will say I did finish playing a game called Never Out for the Switch, and I reviewed that for Pure Nintendo. And it had its life started as a VR concept type of game where it's a first-person puzzler game where you're basically in a cube. And from what I can tell, it's based off the cult sci-fi film from the 90s called Cube. And you essentially have to go through this three-dimensional space, whatever, in this first-person perspective, and in this giant cube that every time when you reach a wall, it immediately becomes the floor. So you're essentially just walking across this cube, whatever, as if you're like your feet are attached to the ground, and you essentially have to traverse it, whatever, to get to a hidden hatch, or not a hidden hatch, but a visible hatch that progresses to the next room. There's about like 60 or so of these levels that you go through, and the first 10 or so are fairly easy, but once it gets to other things like, platforms, electrical death traps, and, rusted little cubes that basically, if you're not careful where you're walking towards a wall, like say if you're next to one and then you just walk up to slightly, basically the cube will just fall straight onto you. So you have to make sure you're careful with your placement. So, I liked what it was and how immersive to be and a very intriguing concept, but I feel like this is the type of game I would have liked a lot more if I was able to experience it in VR. Because it feels a little bit disorienting just, from that perspective without the VR perspective exactly.
That's really cool. And do you know, is this game available in VR on other platforms or?
Yes, it is. It is. When I was researching whatever, because I wanted to figure out the history behind it, whatever, or what it was based on. But yeah, you can get it through Oculus and you can get it through Steam. So
like VR only.
Yeah, pretty much VR. So, but oh no, you can get it for the HTC Vive. So there is that. If you're getting some slightly cheaper options, but it's fairly cheap too. I think it's like $6.
That's really cool. And is that the same sort of price it is on Switch?
Yeah, it is. It is, and and that's a fair price for what it gets to it. It just I don't know. For me, its drab colors and its atmosphere to me just never really hooked me as enough on there. And when I found out this was originally a VR game, I was like, I'd like this a lot more if I could play it on this. So, I mean, it just did not really give me the same experience. It did. I wouldn't say not because I haven't experienced that one, but it didn't give me the same immersion that I don't know what I would. I could tell basically the immersion for this would be a lot better if I had a VR headset. So, but no, that is all I've really been playing right now, and I not really much on the horizon right now. I mean, again with my I'm just trying to kind of like get everything in order as far as games to probably play in the coming months, and maybe to kind of I don't know, with such a stack of games coming up, and knowing that it seems like every week at the Switch, there's just a dozen upon new games that just get onto the eShop, and you're just like, oh, please, just slow down, slow down. We've got nothing else to do, but or like not nothing to do, but it's like it's just too much. So, I mean, it's a good thing to have, but it's also for people who are reviewing games and stuff. It's a nightmare right now in terms. I mean, a good nightmare, but it's just
It's a good problem to have on Nintendo side, at least.
Oh no, it's better than what we got last generation. I mean, oh boy, but you know, it's just that I mean, it's just amazing coming from like the slow trickle of the Wii U days, and even the Wii U days, and now we're basically I've the best thing I probably have heard to describe basically the Switch right now is like Switch is basically Steam as a portable. That's what it is right now because all the great indies are there. So I don't blame it.
We're definitely living in different times, and I think I've only got one listed on the show notes, but I've got 2 games to talk about here. Neither will take super long, but I think they're both interesting in their own right. The first is a demo, which is a game I've been anticipating for quite some time. Valkyria Chronicles 4.
Okay. I didn't get a chance to play that at E3, whatever, but this one, little less known about in there. I know we talked about it on the show when it was when it was announced to be on Switch, but tell me about it. Enlighten me, I'd say.
Yeah, and certainly. So I mean, I've played the first game in full. I've played a little bit of the second game, which was on PSP. The original was on the PS3, and number 3 didn't actually get released in the West, but number 4 like seemed to be like a return to form in the announcement. And from what I've played so far, it really is. As in, if you like the first game, you will like this game because it is essentially that, but with a new fresh paint. Coat of paint in terms of the style of the game. It's got obviously new world, new characters, new story, but the actual gameplay, the fundamentals are like really solid and just play like the first game, really. But with like new weapons and new items to kind of change things up, which is really cool. And so I've not really been introduced to much new, but in terms of like where the series has gone, I really don't think that's a bad thing. It feels really nice. And I think more importantly, well, maybe not more importantly, but impressively, what was really appealing about the original game was its real, its art style.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas its anime look, which is also looks hand drawn, which is it's all very impressive, and it looks really good on the Switch. It's a comment you've heard me say about a lot of games, but I'm continuously impressed by these kind of like stunningly designed games, as it were, and they run as good as they do on the portable mode. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a really great game to have portably. This turn-based strategy game.
Okay, and this is like you said, a tactical role-playing game. So, judging from the few screens I'm kind of looking at right now, is that this kind of, I mean, if would you say somebody who's a fan of Fire Emblem is probably going to enjoy this? Because I look at the layout as far as like troop movement, it just seems a little bit similar. But again, that's just probably me just, again, very dumb and not knowing about this as much as I can.
It's kind of a bit of a hybrid, really. So I think if you like Fire Emblem, there's a good chance you'll like this, but it's not a guarantee. Because the kind of general flow of the match is you start with looking at the map of the arena and you select a unit. But at that point, it goes into like a real-time-ish, like third-person shooter. Mm-hmm. And your actions cause meters to drain. So when you run, your movement bar will decrease, but you're not locked to a rigid path of a grid to move. You do move with the analog stick and steer the camera with the second stick, and you can get to as far as your movement meter will allow. And you also get for a single turn an action like a weapon shot. Mm-hmm. But you can choose when to activate that, so you don't have to run your full distance. You can run a little bit. You can shoot. But the shooting doesn't end your turn, so you can run up to something, shoot, and run back. I believe. Did you actually play Codename Steam on the 3DS?
I played the demo, and I think the demo itself. I remember said in the show that it just turned me off to a point where I'm like, I don't know. It just did not really warrant me to like. I'm glad I didn't jump into this, but the idea was kind of okay with. But
sorry, the core like gameplay loop, it is very much that. But I don't. It's not like, I mean, I played Codename Steam, and the demo didn't like ball me over. Yet I was really excited to play that style of game because I feel beyond Valkyria Chronicles, that's the only other game which kind of really feels like that in terms of having these like third person action movements for your actual actions of your turn-based strategy game.
Okay, so it's a similar in that vein. Whatever, like you have a certain set of moves basically in this third person view that you're doing, and like third person view that you have, and do you have in the ways of Codename Steam, whatever. You'd run out of steam to a point where you couldn't move, and that's where you were able to get like more steam power to actually move more throughout the map. Now, is there something similar to that?
Well, in terms of like for each like turn of your unit, they can run as far as they can, but you can have more than one turn of the same unit within your turn. So you've got a certain amount of like points to spend on like turns or like units to move, but you can spend them again on the same one. You get diminishing returns, like their movement bar won't be as full as the first time you used them, but you can spend some of your points to like make one single unit like have a bigger run. So if you can imagine something like Advance Wars, where on a single turn you can only move one infantry soldier like so many squares, but the equivalent would be within your turn you could, instead of moving your whole group of infantry units, you could move one of them like as if he had had 4 turns. And so like choosing when to do that and when to move your units equally is like another layer of strategy on top of it, which is really cool in the series. But yeah, no, so far I'm very impressed. It's also a really good showcase on the demo, just kind of the feel of the game outside of the core gameplay, because you see the cutscenes, you see like the menus in between, and I feel a lot of demos you just get this like tiny vertical slice of the actual gameplay, and you don't necessarily get the feel of the actual flow of the game as if you were playing it once you've taken it home. And I feel this demo captures that, which is cool. So it's a free demo. I pretty much recommend anybody listen to this podcast.
but as a isn't any other demo free though?
Well, it depends if you get it from Amazon on the UK. They'll charge you a penny or $1.
Wait, really? They do that?
Well, I heard a new story on Twitter the other day. I don't know what's going on there. It's not a thing usually. I can't remember the UK story. It was Amazon in general, but eShop demos like became chargeable for like a cent or a pence or whatever the local currency was. It's like, why would you when you could just do it direct from the Switch? Anyway, don't do that. Download it direct, kids.
So what else have you been playing besides that?
The other thing, and this one won't take long, but it's here, so I'm going to show it. Is I've got some Labo.
Oh, you're going fishing here. Okay.
Yeah, I'm fishing. My little reel.
That noise that it's making, basically just going there. Just I don't know how to feel about that.
Oh well, how do you feel about this?
Just makes me want to rush out to actually get my buddies on a boat and crack open beers. I'm sure that basically it just wants me to do it.
I bet it's the exact same experience you would have if you built your own cardboard fishing rod.
I'm just gonna
in front of the. Well, I guess you don't need to be in front of the TV. That's probably where you would be. I guess you could take it out to the local fishing pond and see what looks you get.
All right. So wait, last time we talked about Labo, or you showed it off. Did you already have that built?
No, I didn't. At the time, I'd only had built the RC cars and the house. And this is the only other thing I've built. So I've still got the piano to go, and I think there's something else. I can't remember. At least I got the piano to go. I've definitely not done that yet. But yeah, I mean, the strange thing about Labo is, like, it is, for I think at least my audience, it is essentially a gimmick. It's fun to build, but I really have very little desire to go back into the actual fishing game. Beyond maybe, it's a fun concept to show off to people, but it really doesn't have much replay value. It is this fishing rod. I mean, it's fun. Like, the novelty, the thing it exists is more fun than the thing it is. But it was fun to build, so it's got that, I guess.
So you're saying basically, you're saying that like it's just proves the point of it's fun to build these things, but it's like you're saying the appeal is not there for you anymore after fishing.
It's more so like it's more creative. Like, it's fun to be creative with it with Labo, more so than it's fun to play. At least the ones I've done so far, the fishing game, the house game. The RC cars don't really have a game, and oddly, they're kind of the most fun because you just use them as RC cars, and you can barrel them by actually driving them into each other, and you can see one topple over. But yeah, I mean, I'm not writing Labo off by any means, and it is definitely.
Oh no, I mean, I'm not writing it off at all either. When it comes to it, it's just I think it's just like we said to me is like when the idea of just building these things just more fun as far as these. But again, the whole experiments, whatever. I mean, this is still the early on what we can. Who knows what they're going to be able to do with these Labo creation, like when they announce more.
Yeah, I also just want to say, sorry, Colin. I hope this isn't making your job too hard by me reading this while I speak, and especially also while Harrison speaks. Apologies for that. But yeah, I think that covers Fishing Labo.
Fishing Labo, okay. Get that.
Come back with impressions with Piano Labo in the future. Maybe a ways off. Might do that in a few different sessions, the piano build. So, should we get to this Nintendo news? Okay, so first up, we got a couple of items here before the big Smash news, but they are both good ones. First is the World Ends With You Final Remix now has a release date of October 12th.
Woo!
Woohoo, indeed! And we got a new trailer to go alongside it.
I did not watch the trailer yet. I just saw the release date, and I was like, doesn't matter. That's enough for me to actually get anticipated and actually, to be honest, try this for the first time, because I remember everybody was bugging me in college, like, you got to try this, game. And I'm like, I think it was in that phase of me where I was just not so much into JRPGs for a while. I don't know. I went to a weird phase in college where I was like, well, everybody goes through a weird phase in college, is that I just didn't find the appeal of JRPGs. It wasn't until, again, that was a very strange time for, when JRPGs were a bit in remission. And it wasn't until like games like even from Atlas or even like Xenoblade Chronicles, you would say, that kind of just opened up that just re-pushed the door open to, the swath of JRPGs that are just being more, I wouldn't say more accepted, but just coming out en masse. So, I mean, I'm just saying 2010, I feel like that was a turning point for that. So that's just what I'd say.
Yeah, and I think like World Ends With You kind of launched in somewhat unfortunate circumstances where, like, I don't think it had any buzz around it before it came out. Like, I don't think they were really like.
It's a rare DS card, isn't it?
Exactly, and that's kind of where I was going with. Like, so I think no one was really anticipating it that much. It's not really the most approachable of games. It looks very chaotic. You've got like two fights going on at the same time. It is a JRPG. It's got these rhythm elements, all this. So it feels it's getting quite niche. And then, like, yes, you're absolutely right. Like, I don't think they actually made many. And so it became quite rare quite quickly at the point where people kind of started discovering, actually, it's this hidden gem. It's this fantastic, stylish game made by Square Enix and very refreshing. So I think a lot of people have kind of noticed this game after a point where it was easily that you could pick it up, because it was never a download game either. So yeah, I think it's going to have that Switch effect where I feel this game is going to do very well and outsell its original version.
No, I feel like that's the divine hope for this one is that you want to, like I said, the Switch effect for something that just puts it on there and it just booms. It just gets to better success. Yeah,
and especially like coming hot off the heels of Octopath Traveler as well, obviously published by Square Enix, developed as well. But I mean, like, people have good faith in Square. It's like, it seems Switch is like a good home for that style of game. Like, it's somewhat, I mean, it's not necessarily a retro game, World Ends With You, but it is a 2D JRPG inspired game. So I think it's not like the world of difference between that and Octopath Traveler. I feel like some of its audience will be hungry for this when the time it's come out. So yeah, I think it's going to do really well.
So no, I say, but yeah, this is one I will probably, I hope to pick up if I can fit it in my time to actually do so. But yeah, that's one I'm looking forward to.
Oh, definitely, and yeah, it's also, at least for me, just the fact that it can be downloaded now, even to the machine. I think it's going to make it a lot easier to just get in first place, but also just to find time to put time into it.
Yeah, I agree.
So next up, we have an update on the Legend of Zelda timeline, which
Colin's not
Uh,
well. Our fellow Zelda timeline denier, Colin is not in here. I kid Colin, whatever for you, whatever. But he but wasn't it beginning at some point that this was the timeline for this Breath of the Wild, whatever was, correct me if I'm wrong, beforehand it was inconclusive. Nobody could figure it out, or did they originally speak where it was? And this, or this is the first time they're telling us?
this is the first time they're saying for certain. I think the only thing they said before this was that it took place after Ocarina of Time.
Okay, so that's of course they would do that. That's where it splits. So yeah,
Exactly. But even then, like the fact that this is where they're going with it makes that even it makes it almost a redundant point. But they have updated the Legend of Zelda timeline, and Breath of the Wild sits not in any of the particular time splits, but just right at the bottom, not directly connected to the games above them. At least that's not been detailed. So we just know it comes after everything. is the official word, which makes sense. In the sense, like it seems to, like Breath of the Wild seems to refer to basically everything which has already happened in terms of the species and like the evolution in terms of how we know it in that series, and just lots of references to events and locations we know of, like spanning most of the other games, so it must have happened after. But yeah, do we think like is Nintendo like, are they going to stick with this timeline? Like a few Zelda games down the road, do you think they'll be updating a timeline, or will it be this forgotten relic?
Well, one could say that the reason the timeline exists is because through messaging that Nintendo had said, even leading up to like when Ocarina of Time was released, is that it was almost like fan demanded. It wasn't something that Nintendo kept on there. It was just because there was a fan community. I felt like I believe that's what it was. Like that just was wanting Nintendo to kind of answer this, like, what's the deal? Like, big deal with the split with like Ocarina of Time, where it's like you have Child Link and Adult Link in the world where Adult Link left behind, and that's what kind of created this whole question for everybody. And to me, I believe in the timeline, even though how convoluted it is, but it almost seems like the way that they're putting with Breath of the Wild, like at the end in an unspecified time, is just for them to basically, all right, so this is past these games, even though we don't know where it's this part of the split or this part, but it's after all these games. And is it just me, or are they just going to find ways to basically, all right, this is the end, and we're just going to fill things up right before it just to kind of connect it? It's almost the same way when you look at the beginning of Zelda, is that technically it's Zelda 2. Well, before Breath of the Wild, Zelda 2 was the last, like the oldest in the franchise as far as in the timeline. Sure. Now we have Breath of the Wild, which is now confirmed to be the oldest in the time, like the earliest, not the oldest in the time. I'm messing that up. Oldest as yeah, I'm just saying basically it's the latest in the timeline, and now Breath of the Wild comes along and does this. I like the idea of timeline because it just gives Zelda, at least for its simple story of basically a princess and a hero and hero saving the princess, blah blah. But I know it's bigger than that. It's a lot deeper than that. Some kind of claim, but what I'm saying is, for something that's kind of feels simple, it's simple and whimsical. I'm just glad something like this has a little bit deeper lore to it. I mean, I have the Zelda encyclopedia over here, and to me, that just it's a wealth of knowledge out there for any Zelda fan. But I know that they did reevaluate one game in the timeline. I think it was Link's Awakening, and they it's still in the Link fails to defeat Ganon timeline. It now precedes rather than follows the Oracle game. So there was definitely some retconning there.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the other way you could look at this is that it might be like Nintendo, and I don't mean to alarm anyone by using this phrase, but doing like a soft reboot on the lore in the sense that they can now refer to everything from all the previous games, prior to Breath of the Wild as the Legends. And then they can start building up this new timeline, which isn't from a split timeline of like, all right, this is the game which happens after Breath of the Wild.
Wait, are you suggesting that they're just
like make it more of a linear structure from here on out?
Are you suggesting that are you suggesting basically that the split timeline is no more, or what? I mean, that's like if you're saying this is, like you said, this is a soft reboot, but it's
I feel it's like an excuse for them not to answer some of the questions they've dug themselves into. Like, oh, don't worry, like about we're not going to do some sort of parallel time story here. It's all that stuff's in the past, and we're just going to see what where the story goes from here on out, and we're going to go, break new ground, and like just do like a standard. All right, this is the second game, this is the third game, this is the fourth game, and so they can make more direct callbacks. But you never know. It might be, next time round they one up Skyward Sword and do the earliest game again. They do like to dart all over the place. So we'll have to wait and find out.
I mean, I think it's just them just realizing, okay, we realized we kind of slightly messed up. I wouldn't say messed up on some certain things or confused you, but here's this latest portion of the game right now. It's near the end, and yeah, like you said, a soft reboot of this where it's just they're going to probably fill in more of the gaps probably later on, or my popular theory was that Breath of the Wild is basically where all the timelines meet.
Yeah.
That's my theory, but I don't know how to do that. That's just you'll probably see behind me my blackboard of like all the pieces of paper and post-it note. Yeah, it just messing around. I'm like, okay, if this is here, this means it messes with this continuity. I mean, this is not as bad with it's not with like the Metroid timeline. I mean, the only bit of confusion I think some fans have, even though I think Sakamoto did mention that like somebody mistranslated or misread something saying that the Prime games were not canon to the main series of the games, which, because when you look at it, the Prime games take place between Metroid 1 and Metroid 2. So that was my general belief. But now the more you read into it, it's like that kind of contradicts it. But I think there was some quote out there from Sakamoto that he did confirm saying that this was part of the timeline. But again, timeline discussions are just making me get upset, making me just get a little bit convoluted in my own mind right now, because we got some Smash news to talk about, don't we?
We do. We've got enough convolutions, as it were. So let's get straight to the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Direct discussion. And there was a lot of information like dumped in this. So it started off with new fighter announcements.
Which did you get spoiled by this the night before?
I did.
See, this is how I got spoiled. Okay, for those who don't know, Nintendo, this wasn't based on a leaker or an outside person. This was Nintendo's own fault for doing this. What they did was correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but up on YouTube, they changed the title to the recently uploaded Galaga theme that they had on YouTube, and it was unlisted, and they changed it to Monster Tears and what was the name of the other music on there? If I can find it. It was like Monster. It was a Castlevania bit on there. And Bloody Tears and Monster Dance. I got those mixed up. And that was all from Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. So when they saw that, everybody assumed, oh no, or uh-oh, Simon Belmont's coming. And then I heard everybody's like, wow, I just got spoiled by all this other stuff. And I'm like, that was my cue to log off Twitter. And this was like late at night, and I just went to bed. And yeah, this was the only thing I was spoiled with. Everything else, I was not. So overall, I mean, this was a good opening to it. So go on. I mean, to describe what it is to our audience for anybody who didn't see it or how much we liked it.
Well, I'm kind of hoping the listeners and the watchers did see the direct.
Oh yeah, this is true.
Going about the big parts, but obviously we had both Simon Belmont and Richard Belmont announced, and yeah, they were unveiled fantastically with this weird like Luigi's Mansion cross Castlevania thing.
Luigi, also R.I.P. to Luigi. So yeah. apparently, Nintendo, you can
undeniable, surely.
Well, it's been denied. I know that he's been dead, but I mean, this is two Smash trailers, character reveal trailers that both characters been killed. We had Mega Man, we had Mario, now we have Luigi.
Yeah, they definitely like notched this up a few, steps, as it were.
I feel like it's just theme. I feel like this is going to be rhyming or theming. They're going to go with each of their CG trailers. And also, I did mention this because Simon Belmont was like rumored for months that he was going to be coming to Smash. I mean, he has the Castlevania games have such a rich history, especially early on in Nintendo's consoles, and especially the character of Simon. But it's the thing is, like, the beginning of the trailer, I had said at point if Simon Belmont's going to be revealed, I said they should do the reveal trailer in the style of the animation of the Castlevania Netflix series. And I will tell you, when that trailer first started out, the way I was looking at it, I mean, it was dark in my room, and the lighting that I saw in there, I was like, oh my God, did my prediction just come true? And then, of course, it was just a CG trailer, and still, it looked good. And I will say that Sakurai does a really good job at directing these CG trailers, and it almost makes me like, can you just make a movie out of this?
Yeah, the other thing is, like, he does. I'm not sure it's his job, but I would imagine he directed this actual direct as well in terms of editing not editing it by hand as such, but directing, at what points and what announcements he would make, which would follow into what trailers, which would follow into what type of gameplay, and the whole structure of the direct. Because the whole bait and switch like methodology it's been like being used for a while now, and it was being used more aggressively, I feel, in this direct, in terms of him knowing, like, he would announce like a load of like big things, like at the start with these characters and echo characters, and then would say there is still more to come, sort of thing, before jumping into whatever news he has still to discuss. And as we'll find out later when he talks about like certain numbers and such, I'm sure he has a lot of fun with how his numbers get displayed.
Oh no, I mean, yes, he does. He has probably a way of like, I want this to be here, and I want this to be comical. I mean,
I want this to explode off the screen.
No, it's so great. Whatever. Also, I think before when the direct was announced, I think the night before, he had, in some interview, he'd mentioned, like, apologizing for the redness in his eyes, knowing that, like, that can mean other things, whatever. But obviously, it's like, all the hard work and probably lack of sleep he's just getting with this game, like developing this game, even though he's not technically killing himself like he did with Smash 4 on Wii U and 3DS. But again, I mean, it's nice to see Simon Belmont though in this game though. I mean, I know I'm changing so much in here, but again, Sakurai is just a game design madman at this point.
He is, and he integrates like the character so well. So like Simon Belmont, like, he looks very faithful, like, to his play style, but it works so well in Smash. And I bet that's not a particularly easy thing to do. I know it's such a coincidence that all these characters feel like they play really well against each other. It must be a balancing nightmare.
Oh, I bet. But it was I don't know. I think the surprise, like, I knew it was Simon coming in, but the inclusion of Richter was the one that really caught me off guard in there. Now I was thinking from that reveal, I was like, oh, he's like another separate character, but turns out he's an Echo character, like an Echo fighter, which I think Sakurai mentioned in the direct though that it was a lot of the movesets that Simon has did originate from Richter, and that kind of caused a bit of confusion. I wouldn't say confusion among everyone online, but it's just him saying like, well, it's who knows who originated from who, from in terms of who's the real Echo fighter. The what?
Who's the real Echo fighter?
Yes, I think that's what it was. But yeah, I'm nice to see another Konami representative on here in this one. But again, the whole bits of the trailers they did on there were great, whatever. And I like the new Castlevania stage that they have.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, and again, the amount of detail, because all the different Castlevania enemies which appear in the stage with their own unique animations, and they also go on to all the music which is included.
Yeah, how many is it? Like 30 for just that stage?
Yeah, 30 something. Yeah, which is great, and they go into later as well with the different details which go alongside the music. But let's talk about some of the other new characters. So we had some new Echo fighters as well. We had Kron, Dark Samus. I imagine you were pretty excited when Dark Samus was announced.
Oh yes, I was. Although it is, part of me is a little teensy, little bit upset that it's just an Echo fighter. But to me, it's barely like
fair in this occasion.
No, it's fair. It's less work for like that. And part of me is like, but then I was like, you know what? Dark Samus is in the game. It's all good, whatever. And I did appreciate in one of the trailers that you saw, not in the direct, but it's in the character trailers they have on the Smash site. Dark Samus's pose, for like winning pose, like after you win a match, it's basically do you remember the scene in Metroid Prime Corruption, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, when you're the final boss, like the facing off of Dark Samus and as the final boss? Dark Samus does this little side flip, whatever, where two of them appear, and they reverse that as the victory pose, and it comes back into one. I really that little detail there or pose I just like a lot. But Chrom and both Dark Samus, these were both heavily requested characters. I know Chrom way more, it seems like, after when Robin got revealed for Smash 4 almost 4 years ago.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I think but both of these are going to please the fan bases.
Now, Chrom is echoing Roy or Ike, right? Or it's Roy, isn't it?
I'm not entirely sure who Chrom's the echo of out of all the sword fighters nowadays.
That's gonna. Oh boy. No. I'm definite. It's Roy, but apologies, listeners here. Yep, it's of Roy. They're placed next to each other, 25E. So, or Epsilon as the echo number is. But well, I say with Dark Samus though, that's just a nice. That's just aside from more Metroid representation. I mean, to think like, well, when Ridley got announced, I was like, okay, that's probably it for Metroid representation. I assumed no more would be on there, and then someone pointed out to me while playing Smash at E3 that Samus does not have her black and blue color outfit, like a palette for her choice of suit. So that led to thinking, oh, does this mean something? And then lo and behold, we have Dark Samus. So again, more characters from Metroid makes me happy, but also that's just another amiibo I'm going to add to it right now, because they did announce these characters are going to get amiibos.
Of course they are. So yeah, if it was like the amiibo line for Ultimate is actually going to turn out to be quite sizable, even if they're not redoing all the main cast again.
Oh, that would be
this collection.
That would be a nightmare. I mean, if just you'd get somebody who's like, I collected this whole swath of Smash Brothers character, like Smash Brothers. I'm gonna finish this collection. Oh yeah, we're gonna be doing the same ones but different poses. I'm like, oh, why?
1 month till the release of the next system.
Oh, jeez.
Got
it. Yeah, boy.
And then repeat the cycle on the next system again.
Hey, no, I want to go back on the whole Castlevania stage portion on there, and they did notice the stage hazards on there, which include, werewolves, mummies, basically the various bosses and enemies from the early Castlevania series, but also Dracula, which Sakurai said if you meet certain conditions, the legendary vampire would probably appear, and we're thinking like, what would those conditions be as far as amount of fights? And then I've heard someone suggest that, well, maybe if you're playing the game and your internal clock, when it finally reaches midnight, that's when it happens. So, or something past then.
Or just if it like, I wouldn't put it past Sakurai to have as this basic weather check where if the moon is out, that would affect what appears.
I did like how when the that leak happened the night before, somebody edited the text from Simon's Quest, where when you stop, it's like it's a terrible. What was the quote? It's like, what a terrible night for a leak. Yeah, what a terrible night for a curse. So they changed it. What a terrible night for a leak. As soon as I saw that, that's how I got spoiled. I was like, oh. I know I said that I saw that video, but I think that was somebody else who got spoiled for me. But again, I don't know.
Yeah. So on the topic of stages. It turns out there's going to be quite a few of them in Ultimate. 103 to be exact, at least of current counting. And they all are available for 8-player matches, unlike a section of them in the Wii U version. Stage hazards across the board can be turned on and off. And we also had a new stage as part of all this, which was New Dog Sea. As well as confirmation of a bunch of returning stages. But yeah, so we had New Dog City, and as you know, we've had a few stages of now. You're on like this kind of flying set of platforms which take you around this, larger area. But it seems that you'll be. I rewatched it again, and I think you kind of have to collect the different musicians. And then
Yeah, for the music for the was the New Donk City Players. That's what it's called.
yes,
Yeah,
you got
that's
to collect all the players and Pauline, and then they'll be performing. Well, that's my guess. At least it might just be, you just automatically watch in the background. All the characters jump past each musician, so I feel there's that part of it.
Yep. So 103. I mean, again, another thing when Sakurai's showing his graphs, it's like I just completely forgot how little stages that were in the first game. For some reason, I was thinking like there was 20, but it showed like 9. It was like 9. I'm like, wow. So
we only had a dozen characters at that point. I feel we've already a dozen new characters, including Echo's already announced.
I did like though, because when playing the game, they did, like, aside from picking stages as first, they did mention the same thing of stage as well, that we can now select the rules before picking a character. I really do. Do you like that a lot? To me, I don't. I think that's a nice change of thing to me, because there have been many times where we'd be picking characters, and then once we get to the next screen before stages, we have to realize, oh, did we set for stock or this, whatever? It's like, no, we didn't. Again, something that's tucked away at the top, like at the top, where yes, it's visible, but it's for me, my group of friends, we tend to forget. I just feel like to have the rules just right there at the beginning is just sit there. And also, what do you think of the new final smash meter? That's a new rule that they added to it.
And yeah, well, it's not a non-default rule. But yeah, it looks chaotic, which is how they described it. And so I think it will be fun to play. I think I'll actually play it more than some other side modes, just because I think you being able to like pull off a lot of your specials, or your final moves, final smashes, is going to make matches quite fun. Just always.
And these are and thankfully they did make these less powerful. So I don't know. I do like that essentially, because it does. I mean, the idea of getting the Smash Ball when it's just floating around is chaotic in its own sense, whatever. Because especially with 8-player Smash, but to have this build up, like as it to meet its own little as your own little ability, I feel like it's nice to have, whatever. And it makes me think, will this probably be accepted in the the competitive scene at all? If they'd say like, hey, you can use the Smash meter if you want. I mean, but so
it's possible, because the other thing the other rule they changed was like the adding of I forgot what the mode's called, but the mode where you have HP bars as one of the main rule now. So there are now 3 main sets. So you got time, stock, and is it stamina mode?
Stamina mode. So yeah.
So now that's one of the main 3. So it might be that they're pushing. Stamina mode is actually more of a tournament type mode.
Wait. I know. Really. I mean, I know Evo just happened this whole weekend. But wait, is that something they're going to?
Not traditionally. I've never seen stamina mode played in Evo on either the Smash games, but I feel maybe like Sakurai's thinking, if it's added as one of the 3 normal rules, maybe it would be accepted as such, because maybe there would be an extra layer of strategy with the combination of a health bar and earning your special meter, because it is or at least it's just more similar to traditional fighter. It might bring in maybe expand its fighting audience slightly. It's interesting nonetheless. And you also added you can now make, for the first time, your own rule sets and set a default rule set. So when you start up Smash mode, it will be how you have saved it to. So if you always play stocked, you don't always have to select it to be stock, and things like that. So there's a lot of little quality of life details which are good here. So on top of stages, and I guess in addition to stages, there's a new mode or an option called Stage Morph, where you can select 2 different stages, and middle of the match, one stage will transform into the other.
And you're able to pick these 2 stages beforehand, I believe.
Yeah, you can. So you can also set it randomly, but you can also choose the specific stages. I want this stage to transform to this stage.
That would make for some very interesting matches. Is like, you say if you go for like like for F-Zero's Big Blue stage, and then the next stage that it morphs back into is like, I don't know, just simply Battlefield or Final Destination, something that's just like, oh, it's just a flat plane. Whereas like, and like, oh, where's this going next to? Oh, it's now back to the craziness that's Big Blue. So
Yeah.
I enjoy that.
Yeah, and so next up, they talked about the music, and they had some fun with
Oh, this is good.
how many tracks there would be in the game, where the numbers started like roaring up and then started to slow down near 400 and seemingly settle near 500, and then it finds this sudden burst of energy and jumps up to almost 900.
Mm-hmm.
Which apparently equates to over 28 hours of back-to-back video game classic music.
That's gonna be an expensive box set of music soon.
Yeah, I feel if that collection was to ever come out, which I doubt it will, I reckon due to licensing reasons would cost more than the game itself.
More than the game, it probably costs more than the game plus maybe my my Switch at launch. So that's a something there. But one thing
option with all the different like non-Nintendo stuff as well as the big Nintendo library kind of supported.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just aside from a collection of characters. I mean, I've always one best way to describe Smash is not just a fighting game, but it almost feels like a celebration of Nintendo as its own little virtual museum where you can basically all the objects and stuff are fighting each other. So that's to me that's what it makes Smash a lot better for me. So like for me to accessible for a lot of people, and plus it's a series that has introduced some people to different series. I mean, I've known people that got into like Earthbound or even F-Zero because of it early on. I certainly got more interest in Fire Emblem because of Melee. So to me, the music itself is just a great way just to show off basically what these series are so much about and how they feel. And to me, it's just, again, a celebration of things I really love about this series so much, especially with Smash. But 900 compositions, my goodness.
That is ridiculous proportions. And again, it's kind of like the ongoing theme of this game, but it says again, the attention to detail. So just the fact you've got all these different options, you can create and save your own playlists, which thinking about just, this is the sound test mode essentially of this game, is very impressive. And you can turn your screen off on your Switch at least and play the music back in portable mode.
Mm-hmm.
And so I imagine they had to do some work with the actual the actual OS makers of the system to enable that to happen.
I saw that, and while that'd be kind of cool for having everything else as far as a music player in there, but I'm just gonna say, are we really gonna do that? Now, let's be honest here. Are we really? I mean, I have a backpack, but for me, especially having that tethered to to a headphone jack, because I really wish the Switch actually had Bluetooth capability so I could have my Bluetooth headphones, whatever, with having the use of it. I would just really, really like to have that. But is anybody? Am I gonna carry that thing, whatever, and listen to music? And I'll test it out. But to me,
I think some people will.
Some people will. But here's the thing:
the library's so massive.
It is massive, but it's like, yeah, it'll probably give you the incentive to be like, oh wow, you'll have all this, and it'll probably give you the forceful to actually listen to it like that way. But it's like, I don't know. It just feels like it's essentially you're carrying around 5 iPhone, like the length of 5 iPhone 8s together. I know I'm probably messing up my measuring on that one, but you get the point.
Yeah, sure. But I think it's good to have all those playlist type settings, because I think it would. I'm sure I'll have an occasion at some point in my future where it will be cool to have the Switch plugged up to some speakers and just have this curated playlist together from Smash Bros. From those 900 tracks. I'm sure there's like some real gems in there.
Mm-hmm.
And you could have all sorts of different types of playlists, really, based on franchises or just different types of music or themes. Yeah, I say if you've gone through all the effort to get all that music, and it's so like going above and beyond at this point, that I really appreciate those options, and so I'm kind of really digging this ultimate approach where they didn't start from the ground up. and they've just had all this time to refine and to add stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we also got a bunch of new items and Pokemon and assist trophies, and there's loads of them. So, are there any in particular caught your eye that you'd like to discuss?
Oh, Pokemon that were used?
Items, Pokemons, or assist trophies.
Oh, items, assist trophies. Well, to start off the Pokemon. Well, should we just name them all that they show on there, and I'll tell you which ones I actually liked.
Oh, that means I've got to pronounce them all.
Well, some of these I can. I mean,
I'll do most of them. I should.
That's how bad of a fan I am. That's how bad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everybody.
We got Abra. That's a nice, easy one. Got Singalero, Lunala, Mimikyu, an Alolan Vulpix, a Marshadow, a Ditto, and an Alolan Executor.
Okay, the two that caught me, Mimikyu and like when they first show Alolan Executor. Yeah. Wow. Sorry.
Executor, you got it right.
Executor. Just to see that and his like long, like palm tree neck just up there, I'm like, oh man, this is just great. Oh, this is so good. Yeah, but the Pokemon in there I really liked a lot. Mimikyu did. I did. But the use of Ditto, which I could have sworn, like I thought Ditto would have already appeared before.
I think it made an appearance in the 64 stage.
You're right. Yeah.
You had the ability to transform into your character.
Maybe. I know it appeared in.
You know. Maybe he just attacked you, sort of thing. If you touched him.
Oh, jeez.
I don't think he transformed and fought alongside you like an assist trophy. But yeah, Mimikyu, as you mentioned, he was pretty cool. It was kind of true to his character. He looks creepy, and he kind of just swallows your character and then kind of deflates afterwards in a again creepy way, which works for Mimikyu. And Lunala was pretty cool as well. Kind of took up to the sky and just this big, like not an actual but solar beam type weapon coming out of him.
Again, the legendaries are here to make their also well, yeah. I don't know. Like I'm liking these new additions to Pokemon. Did we already talk about items?
No. That's kind of just capturing items, Pokemon, and assist trophies all as one big group.
So you asked me to
go over the items in terms of the names.
Yeah, just yeah. Let's name up all the items.
We got Banana Gun, Killing Edge, Bomber, Death Scythe, Staff, Rambling Evil Mushrooms, Rage Blaster, and that's the list. I like
the Rambling Evil Mushroom. Which did I had to look back in there. Did it say that was that a Smash, like an item created for Smash, or is that from a series? Because I like the idea where it just reverses opponents' controls.
I'm not sure where it's from. I feel it's from something. Maybe it didn't have the same effect. But yeah, you chuck out and then their controls are reversed.
Because I remember a Donkey Kong Country level Donkey Kong Country 3 where you were swinging around this liquid and it reverses your controls. I remember it was just super hard. Like again, to me, when I was trying to get all the banana birds in that game, I remember that one just always eluded me. So I which was fun was
seeing Ness with a scythe.
That's
KOing everything in its way.
It's just so unsettling. Well, the Banana Gun was humorous to see on there. So I mean, that's just what was it? That ability. It just fires one powerful bullet and it's a banana. It's a banana gun. That's it. We have Killing Edge from Fire Emblem, and I believe it's like whenever it glows, its power intensifies.
Basically, yeah. So you wait for it, being primed to attack. At the moment it glows. Let's jump into these assist trophies as well.
Yes.
So we have Zero, Knuckles, Crystals, Claptrap, Chef Karazaki, Shovel Knight, the Moon from Majora's Mask, Cap'n from Animal Crossing, Nikki from Swap Note, and Rathalos from Monster Hunter.
The assist trophies area can also be identified as the Smash roster rejects. I mean, I'm sorry. Even though he appeared as an assist trophy in the first trailer with Waluigi, I'm convinced Waluigi is going to possibly be a playable character because didn't you mention in our Discord our Discord conversation that in behind Sakurai in the video, he had a purple and what was the other color?
And yellow.
Yellow. Okay.
Before
Purple.
we go on, would this be a good time, deliberately so, to go through Colin's thoughts and hot takes of this direct?
Well, I think it would be wise to go through because we just got to when I saw Rathalos from Monster Hunter, and is it just me or is that a did that also have a Monster Hunter stage? It looked like it was on there, unless it was just a boss character.
I'm not sure. I don't think he had his own stage, but he's got both. He's both an assist trophy and he can be a boss. So maybe he's the boss of his stage.
Okay, so but yeah, as soon as I saw that, I immediately thought, okay, that's at least pandering to Colin, and I'm happy he's going to get in there. Yes, please tell the listeners what he thought of this. Sorry to throw you under the bus.
So we asked Colin what his hot takes were for the Smash Direct. Colin says, 4 out of 10. Need I say more? Simon Belmont was the best announcement of the Direct. The rest was pretty tame. Still don't get the hype behind Smash Ultimate. It's the same game we've been playing for the past few years. It needs a story mode to push me over the edge and get me on board. Until that's announced, I'll stick with Smash Wii U. And just to add to this,
oh geez, Colin.
Harrison did mention about the Monster Hunter Assist Trophy / stage, which Colin followed. Oh yeah, forgot Monster Hunter stuff. 5 out of 10. To which
just one. Yeah.
It bumps it up by 1, the 2 combined, and I add, those yellow and purple chairs did anything for you? Then Colin says, 4 out of 10.
Oh jeez.
Which brings us back to the purple and yellow chairs. So what do they represent then?
That Sakurai just loves to troll his audience.
That's exactly what that means.
No, I mean, boy. But on the issue in assist trophies, no, like again, I have more Mega Man characters on here. Zero being one of them. I especially the one I like a lot is Cap'n from Animal Crossing. He comes in his little bus, and if you're in direct, if he hits you, you're trapped in the bus, and the bus just exits stage right or left. I'm assuming, stage right or left, and yes, you're dead.
I assume to escape that point, unless you get you get a second or two to try and wiggle.
Maybe, but I'm under the impression that Cap'n's a ticket with Cap'n is a one-way trip to Deadsville. So
that's what they say. Fair enough. Avoid Cap'n at all costs.
No, I would say though when you have
to start up the engine.
I would say the moon from Majora's Mask on there. I'm just like that. It's just like you can't even escape that thing based on the visual we saw in there. It's like, oh, once you have that, it's like, yeah, everybody's gone.
Unless you're playing as Shovel Knight, or well, you are the assist trophy Shovel Knight, because he did in that video, which reminded me that it's great to see Shovel Knight in Smash Bros. He assist trophy or not, that's a success story in its own right. Funded on Kickstarter, indie game, launches on the Wii U, does very well, and also on the 3DS, gets its own amiibo, and then gets itself in the next version of Smash Bros. That's an assist trophy, which survives the moon from Majora's Mask in the video it's announced in. It's quite the accomplishment.
The
indie presentation.
Yeah, and I know it just shows whatever. I mean, who knows what other indie characters go. You'd have to assume Shantae would probably be an assist trophy probably going on, knowing how they worked with Nintendo. So
yeah, and seeing Shovel Knight here, I think it makes those things a lot more plausible, because you got to remember, like, Shovel Knight is also a Western character. He's not a Japanese indie either, and so like that's a very rare example in itself. And so, yeah, maybe it is possible we could see Shantae as an assist trophy. Or maybe possible we can see a representation from SteamWorld as an assist trophy.
Ooh, that is possible.
Yeah. And also, didn't we have a non-assist, like a regular trophy for Captain or Commander Video from the Bit Trip series?
That too.
What else? Wii U game?
I was gonna say Madeline from Celeste, but then again, they had said most of the stuff that's here is from I think when they didn't they make
Yeah, that
a
seems too recent.
it's too recent, but they have a cutoff like 2015. It was like December 2015, and
Mm.
I know probably after this game releases, there's gonna be DLC. So that I'm assuming. Um, so I know we're kind of going a little bit long on here. But no, the thing is, all the stuff we see in here, as far as what we're getting, it still feels like it's the tip of the iceberg because when you go back and look at that Smash for Wii U, that 50 fact extravaganza video, that's pretty tame compared to these two videos we got right now, it seems like.
Yeah, and like the other impressive thing, because to be fair, we are kind of wrapping up the details which did come out of this direct, is that like this is Nintendo playing their card because they obviously had this information all at hand, over E3, but they chose to announce what they did. Their message was Smash Bros. Direct, everyone is back, and then they saved themselves to continue, the hype, as it were. But with all these announcements, where they could have just, announced everything at once to, win E3. But it's cool and it's very Smash Bros. Like this almost feels like part of the game experience itself. Is this point, especially for a Smash Bros. Game, where you're being teased the information and the new character reveals, and you've got your hopes and dreams of who could be in it, in the game in your head, and I'm enjoying being in this moment of time before a Smash Bros. Game has come out, and we're being like teased this information the only way Sakurai can.
I don't know. I know we got modes to talk about right now. Do we just want to read through that?
Yeah, so we've got classic mode, obviously returning, stamina battles, which we've spoken about. A new one is the squad strike.
This looks, yeah, I'm this one caught my eye a lot, whatever. And so basically it's 5v5 and 3v3, and you're basically essentially switching out between characters.
Essentially, so you have a stock per character.
Okay.
So, like in some other fighting games where you can have a team of 3 people and you choose all 3 on the stage select on the character select screen. This is essentially that. So you can have 3 each or 5 each, but you only have 1 stock per each, and you'll swap to the next one when your first is KO'd. Obviously, the last one standing wins. But yeah, this is a mode which I feel a lot of people have been asking for, because we oddly kind of had this in the final part of that new party game mode of the Wii U game.
The Smash Tour.
Yeah, in Smash Tour. Like the finale of Smash Tour was that from all the little character icons you were picking up on the boards, you got to play as those characters for the final battle, and you had a stock each. But this is like a proper multiplayer version of that, which is what we probably wanted in the first place. We also got tournament mode is back, with even more options than before. We've got Smashdown, which is another new mode. So after battling in this mode, previously selected fighters will no longer be available. So you start with the gigantic roster, which is Smash Bros. Ultimate, and for every match you have, the characters everyone played as are grayed out.
It's
playing.
I feel like it's almost a inversed version of All-Star mode when you're facing off other characters.
Essentially, yeah, in a strange way, which I think that's also going to be because I feel you get a lot of modes on fighting games, especially for sequels, which feel just gimmicky and to be put on a bullet point of what's new in this game, but not actually to be played. But I feel this is a mode you could go back to. It sounds like a fun way to play it. It deliberately changes things up. It forces you to get creative and actually know how to play with different characters.
Exactly, and it gets you out of your comfort zone to a point. You're like, okay, this one character that you're good at isn't can't use anymore, and this one that you're terrible at now you have to deal with this. I really enjoy that.
Yeah, and the last of the modes they talked about was training, where Smash has had training before, but this is like a more detailed version of that. And so you got this very clear stage where you can see the distance of your running speed and your how far you're knocking back opponents. And when you do an attack with an opponent, you get to see the different like knockback arcs and they're all color coded depending on how much damage percentage the opponent would have had.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I don't know. To me, they're definitely going the extra mile for like this training mode in terms of just like, you know, for anybody who just wants to get better or better competitively at this, whatever. It's like this is a good way to start of like showing, you know, what you are able to do. Whatever, like, oh, am I able to, if I'm able to knock back this person this length here, this I'll try this out. Or I mean, it's a good way to retool and just add more, like you said, quality. I want to say quality of life things, but more to the user interface to kind of get into a deeper Smash experience, even though that series is technically as deep as a game as you can get.
Yeah, and another thing is they did show us the menu.
Yeah, it's a menu. That's all I can say. It's a menu.
It's a menu, but it's a menu which has seemingly one of its biggest modes blurred out of shot. If the mode's importance got anything to do with the size of the button to hit it and to start it. So we know there's a significant mode to this game, which is yet to be revealed.
What do you think it is? I'm hesitant thinking it's going to be another subspace emissary because I feel like that just would just take more time to actually in resources to get done. So I think they may go somewhere around the route of like an adventure mode, like we saw with in Melee, or it's a revamped version of not Smash Tour, but Smash Run. Is that what it was called on the 3DS?
It was, yeah.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Yeah, I could actually see like Smash Run coming back and then like retooling it, really kind of fleshing it out, giving it like a bunch of sub modes and like things to tweak about it and refining it. Because it seemed like there was some, there was kind of a good core idea with Smash Run, but I think it was kind of limited because of like local play between 3DSs. So it could be that. I mean, I don't think it's impossible. It's like a subspace emissary type mode either. Just because like this wasn't built from the ground up like the other Smash games. They've had the luxury of using the old engine. And so the time they would have made or would have spent making that engine, maybe they spent making this mode. I think that's possible. I'm not entirely sure what else it could be unless it was, I mean, there was already a big button for online. But unless there's this other core mode, which is kind of also online, but it's big enough to be its own thing.
I actually did like that they put Vault, where all the trophies and I guess all the music is actually hidden, is put in there. They actually put that in the front page and not like hiding that in games and more. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah. Especially with, like how much stuff they put in this game. You do not hide the Vault. You put the Vault out at the front for people to access when they need to.
But they said they're going to talk about that other mode until I guess later, probably, but like at a later date. But the dream is another subspace emissary, but realistically, I think it's an updated version of Smash Run or Adventure Run or Adventure Mode, or something that I can't even conceivably think about, and it just gets me by surprise. So,
That's right. Yeah, it could be this really kind of off the wall idea, almost like a WarioWare-esque way to play Smash.
Ooh, I got an interesting idea, huh?
Yeah, just where it could like it would maybe in that similar vein where you have like 30-second session of like this one-on-one fight, and you've just got to do the better than your opponent, and then it will put you in like a target practice, and then it puts you in. So it's like this marathon mode of Smash where you just got to master everything, and then it will just give you a score on a scoreboard at the end. Like I could see it being like something like that, and then maybe with a leveling system on top. Or I'm not sure. I imagine they've got something that they at least think is going to be surprising for them to, bother to show the menu and blur it. If not, just don't show the menu and don't blur it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what that'll be. But we did, of course, have one more big announcement before the show officially finished. There was a bit of rumbling at the end when Sakura was finishing up, which transitioned nicely into the final character reveal of this direct, which was King K. Rool.
One that was also demanded a lot, and I think that like some guy, like 10 years ago, actually, and I saw it either on Reddit or Reset Era, like somebody had brought it back up. It was like had thought of K. Rool's moveset, and I think the moveset that they had there is almost identical. Again, that was just somebody guessing, like an idea about this. It's
What if it was Sakurai making that post back in the day?
Maybe. I don't know. I did like the reveal trailer for this one though, because I think the theme was rivals or heroes versus villains, and how there was another fake out move where the first syllable of K. Rool you see, but it's actually DDD dressed up as him. And of course, for those who know, that DDD is actually voiced by Masahiro Sakurai. And yeah, and I just feel like that was even funnier, realizing like, wow, he's trolling himself there. And then of course K. Rool comes in and just slaps him in the face to decide like, this is my reveal trailer here, so get out of here.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This is such a jam-packed game to me. I just feel like when Sakurai was like getting, like when Nintendo asked Sakurai to make this game, and like, what are you going to do about the new Smash game, Sakurai? And he's like, everything. Haha, that's funny. What are you going to do? He's like, put everything in there. I'm like, okay, there we go. Put everything.
Yeah, that was the deal, I feel like. So what's it going to take for you to make the next Smash game? It's going to be the ultimate one. It's going to have everything. Are you going to allow me to put everything in it? Will you fund it?
Man, aside from but again, overall, I enjoy this direct. I mean, for anybody, it depends, of course, if you were a huge on Smash Brothers, obviously, or the characters revealed there of what you wanted to get your enjoyment out of it. But the spoils of what I saw with Simon, like the leak from Silent Bella the night before, didn't spoil my enjoyment of it. And again, it just leaves me with more questions and awaits me for what's coming up next. So, I don't know. It's like, do you think they would do another third-party character? Because the only conceivable way I could see is like maybe Ms. Pac-Man is an Echo fighter for Pac-Man. That's my only.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. But I think in terms of like a new like third-party character, like as in one which isn't an echo character of an existing one in the game, I'm not sure we will have any more third-party ones. I'm not even entirely sure we'll have any new actual characters which aren't echo characters. Because they did say that there'll be more echo characters to be revealed, as it were, as they specifically phrased it like that, where, I guess they didn't have to. And they definitely didn't say there'll be new characters beyond that. But, Sakurai loves to troll. We all know that. He is King DDD. So maybe there are a whole bunch of new third-party characters yet to be revealed.
It's when he says one thing where in terms of about like, oh, this is my last one, or there's not going to be any DLC. It's like, don't believe him. He's trying to trick you. That's what he's doing.
Until they say this roster is complete, it's not complete.
Yeah, until it's like gun to his head, and he has to
be wary.
There's like a gun to his head,
and the sword may come through.
There's a gun to his head, whatever. He's like, I'm telling you right now, this is the truth. Why? It's like, because if it isn't, I'd be dead right now. But over that, no, I'm Smash hype, man. It's just, can't wait for this. And I was one of my predictions going in, I was thinking that they would do like a beta or something for review, like for this, but I feel like that's going to come maybe because I assume with this one, we probably going to be getting another direct soon. I just feel like because there's other stuff that needs to be detailed for the fall and a little bit beyond, but I don't know. Here's my one thing that gets me annoyed is like when this direct happened, everybody assumed like there was at least one or a few people out there that just complained like, oh, this takes the place of a direct. I'm like, that's no, just stop complaining. Just enjoy what you got right now.
Yeah, Smash was always going to have a dedicated direct, regardless of what came out around it.
Yeah, but I don't know. But that's a lot of Smash that we got today, and both that one and E3. But this one's like there's still more to go right now, and it's not even. And we're about 4 months away from release.
Yeah, I feel this was a better showing for Smash than its reveal. Even if you include the fact that its reveal was its reveal and that had all that impact to it, I just feel there's a lot more fun stuff in this, which is impressive. And yeah, this has got me more excited about Smash Ultimate, which I was already at pretty high levels anyway. So this is really cool, and I'm excited to find out even more about it because we know there's at least new Echo characters, and so far each of the Echo characters has been really cool. And as a little note, I do like how you can switch out the character select screen to either have all the Echo characters as icons in themselves.
Oh yeah, that was
with the the characters that Echoes from.
So
always little details.
Yeah, I mean Sakurai's looking after everything, but
he's looking after us.
I don't know about you, but I think I'm all smashed out for talking today. That's it. And
I think I'm smashed out too, Harrison.
I'm smashed. Yes, there. Bad joke.
It's confirmed. But yeah, that's going to do it for this episode. Before we go, though, we'll obviously do the usual thing where we'll go around the two of us, obviously, this week, and let you know how you can get hold of us and anything else we've been up to. But I do want to mention, because this is episode 149, we do have something a little bit different planned for the next episode. We're going to trial out a new format, so let us know what you like and what you don't like about that when that comes around. Do get excited. We do have some other new announcements, so some other bits we've been talking about in the past, we've teased. We've got some show music coming. We've got some new art for the show itself for each of us. And we're going to be showing that off in the coming week and on the next show itself. So I'm personally really excited about that. So do check it out. It's going to be really cool.
I'm not excited. I'm personally terrified.
It's good to have the balance. So it's good that we've got both of us on board here.
I fear change. That's basically that's my whole life set. Not really. I embrace change. It's just I fear change with I fear change with podcasts.
And that may or not be available on as a t-shirt slogan in the near future. So Harrison, how can the fine folks of the internet get hold of you?
You can reach me at Twitter at @hmilfeld, and if you want to become my Switch friend, I have my friend code pinned to the top of my Twitter profile.
Don't forget about friend codes. And anything you've been up to?
Well, nothing at the moment right now, but more changes going in as far as everything. It's just trying to catch up on all the games right now. So, yep.
That's noble quest indeed.
Mm-hmm.
For myself, if you want to get hold of me, Twitter is the best place in general, really, on the internet. The word you need is Lusion, and the way you spell it is Leuvsion. The thing I'd like to plug this week is our Patreon. Please do check it out. Please do support us if you can. We'll have more to talk about it on the next week's show, but we're doing some changes there as well. And hopefully for the better, we'll let you judge next week. But do check it out. So that's patreon.com/Nintendo Voice. And with that, thanks once again for watching and for listening. And this has been Nintendo Voice.
See y'all later.